people like the idea of free food. Nothing like it. It's going to give them some free groceries. They're interested in that. So we're going to use the idea of free groceries to come over and indirectly talk with them about free needs services. And this is how we do it. It's all scripted. You don't have to figure it out. Just read the script. Here we go. Good morning. My name is Reverend Lightfoot. How are you? Good. I'm with Alpha 2 Omega Support System. Is this Mr. Jones? Yes. How are you doing today, sir? For response. You're probably wondering, what is Alpha 2 Omega? We are a company that provides revenue streams to churches, but that's not why I'm calling. Let me explain why I'm calling. Each time you make a transition from paragraph to paragraph, you are going to say, let me explain why I'm calling. At the top of each paragraph explains what that paragraph is containing, or exactly what you're going to be talking about in that paragraph, and nothing else. For example, paragraph 1, we'll be talking about, introduce yourself. Paragraph 2, state the reasons for calling. Paragraph 3, explain the purpose of you calling them, and so forth. And then next paragraph, explain how the certificates work. Next paragraph makes them hungry. It's about food. And then next paragraph, once they say I'm hungry, then this is where you go. Okay, now let's go back up to the second paragraph when we stopped off and move on. So now we're going to state the reason for your calling. Now, we're conducting a survey to determine how many people in the metro Atlanta area own their pre-need arrangements. And for those families who don't own their pre-need arrangements, we are giving them $1,000 worth of free groceries. You can come by the funeral home and let me give you information on pre-need arrangements, or we can schedule an appointment to drop them off to you. Now, the way this is designed to work, they hear pre-need arrangements said 3 times, but they don't know what pre-need arrangements are. You also said $1,000 worth of groceries. They heard that. So that's what has their attention. So you move forward and you invite them to come to the funeral home. Or you can come by and the funeral home, or we can schedule an appointment to drop it off to you. Well, they're not coming to the funeral, so they'd rather you drop it off to them or send it to them online. Okay? Now let's move on. The purpose for this is to let them know they don't have to buy anything to get the certificate. Now, as I said before, you always use that transitional phrase as you move into the new paragraph. Now, let me explain how this works. The reason we're going to give you these groceries is because we know somewhere down the road you have a need for our services. Hopefully, when you do, you'll remember us. And just maybe you'll remember the groceries we gave you and come do business with us at that time. Now, that's not a fatal flaw. Thinking about that, that's something that I can do. So in other words, they want to give me these groceries now in hopes that I come deal with them in the future for my burial needs. Sure, I can do that. So they're going along with that idea, but you got to make it make sense. Okay, you're just getting started. Now, moving on down to item 3. Now, we're not going to give you these groceries already in a bag. You get certificates. Now, we don't advertise on television because people don't respond to that. Each year, we pay for a membership in a merchants association, and if they give us $300, $1,000 grocery certificates for our usage, and we give these certificates to families to come and talk to us and take a brief survey. So now what's happening here? The thing is, they're asking themselves, how can we actually afford to give them $1,000 worth of groceries if they're not going to buy something now? That doesn't make sense. So we've got to make it make sense. So how do we do that? Explain to them that we're not going to give them groceries already in a bag. They're going to get these. And the way they're going to get it is that we don't advertise on television or radio. People don't respond to that. So what we do is we pay for a membership in a merchants association, and they give us $300, $1,000 certificates that we give away to families to come talk with us and take free survey. Now that makes sense. That makes sense. So we're not spending money out of our pocket, but we're actually giving them a certificate. So they want a certificate. Now let's move on to the next paragraph. And as I always said, when you start a new paragraph, what do you say first? What's the transitional phrase? Now, let me explain how certificate works. When you ask them or say this to them, you ask to get their ear, the ear. So they've got to listen to what you say and not be talking. Now, say you got a certificate for 10 pounds pork chop, and I started smacking. And the reason that happened, when this initially was done, there was a lady that I was talking to, and I used to like pork chops. Somehow I just did a little smack, 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 you know. And the lady heard it, she smacked back, and I noticed that other people did too. So I would smack at them every now and then. That's optional. You don't have to do any smacking. Now, keep reading. The reason the supermarket will give you these pork chops is because they know you're going to buy something to go along with those pork chops, like bread, tomatoes, mayonnaise. But if you're like me, you just go in the store, get your free pork chops, and come on out of there. Now, what is that statement saying? You don't have to buy anything to get to get the groceries. You just go and get what you want, come on out of there. And you're not telling them that, but you're inferring that they come to that conclusion on their own. That's the way you want to tell them things. You want them to come to a conclusion on their own. You know, the old saying is, they're all salesmen are liars and all buyers are thieves. So no matter if you say something, they're going to question. Okay, so you want to make them come to these conclusions on their own. Now let's move into the next thing. Make them hungry and ask them questions about food. Now let me explain something about this. This was done back in 02, long time. And what we did, we found that people were not responding to the certificates. And they brought it to my attention. I'm like, but you know, these people are not responding to certificates. I said, they're not responding because you are not making them hungry. I said, now listen, and I was very clear when I said this. This is a training exercise. I'm going to buy lunch for everybody tomorrow. Now, they used to love Kentucky Fried Chicken. I'm going to Kentucky Fried Chicken. I'm going to get some original chicken. How many people want original chicken? We want original chicken. All right, now, how many people want some crispy chicken? Oh, we'll take the crispy chicken. I said, now, there are also going to be some baked beans. You need to have those baked beans. How many people like baked beans? Ah, we like baked beans. Now, what about some of those potato tots that you stick down in the ketchup? They're hot, flavorful. How many people want? Yeah, give us some of those potato tots. Now, they got those hot biscuits, and you can stick a hole in the biscuits, put honey down in that hole, and you have a hot biscuit smothered in sweet honey. How many people want honey biscuits? Yeah, bring us some of those. Now, they got coleslaw there. And I know you all want some coleslaw. Yes, sir. Bring us some coleslaw. Now, how many people want lemonade? Yeah, we want lemonade. How many people want some sweet tea? Yeah, we want the sweet tea too. Now, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make you all Reverend Lightfoot's world famous banana pudding. They knew about my banana pudding. They used to love it. Yes, sir. Bring us some of Reverend Lightfoot's homemade banana pudding. Now, listen, this food is going to be served promptly at 11:30. So you all here by 10 o'clock because I'm only going to bring enough chicken for everybody that has agreed to be there in the morning. If you're not there and they want more chicken, and they get to eat your part. So make sure you be there at 11:30. And sure enough, the next day, 10 o'clock, they all started coming in. 10:30, oh, the place was loaded. 11 o'clock, man, they were there just waiting to eat, and they started looking around. 11:30, they got kind of upset because there was no food. And they were looking at me and they wanted to know where the food was. I said, remember, I told you all this was a training exercise. You all came here because I talked about the food. You wanted the food. I talked about the food. So you got here because you wanted to eat. That's what you're not doing. You're not making your prospects hungry. It's for these certificates. That's why they're not coming. But you got to talk about food. They said, yeah, we get that point, but we're still hungry. To make a long story short, I ended up having to buy them lunch, but I gladly bought it for them because they had learned their lessons. And from that point forward, we've done over $30 million doing pre-need sales using these certificates. So I advise you to learn how to use them. Now, when you get down to this, read this paragraph, uh, let's make them hungry. Right? Here's what you do. You tell them they can get meats from these coupons. All right. What kind of meats do you like? How do you season your meats? You like fish, steaks, whatever they do. Find out how they cook it. How do you cook that meat? What kind of seasonings do you use on it? And you get to these points. And then once you get them kind of hungry, you say, talking about all this food is making me hungry. How about you? And if you've made them hungry, if you've done your job, then they're going to say, yes, I'm kind of hungry. You say, good. But we only give these certificates to families who don't own preneed funeral arrangements. You don't own preneed funeral arrangements, do you? That's the only time we say pre-need funeral arrangements in the entire presentation. Now, what they want those certificates, guess what's going to come with the certificate? A presentation for pre-need arrangements. And we know one out of every person we talk to will buy a program. So once that's been done, you set the appointment. Then you go in here where it says right there, well, that's good. They said, yes, I'm hungry too. So that's good. Pre-need funeral. You don't own pre-need funeral, do you? And if they say no, then that's good. I have 2 appointment times tomorrow. One at 11, one at 2. They have agent drop off the certificates or to call you. Okay? Now, always give them what we call alternative choice. That gives them the prospect the opportunity to participate in setting the appointment. If they don't want to just come tomorrow, they'll to call us whatever time they're available. But you got that there. Okay? Now, then you get the appointment time and what time you want them to call. And you've got these particular scripts in your presentation. Okay, read through them, and you can discuss this script at any time once we have the group meetings, and then you'll get to discuss this. I'll talk with you about it and answer any questions that you may have. Good luck with your appointment setting.